You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. Roland Martin Unfiltered.
6 years after the city of Flint, Michigan began using a toxic water source as sickened its residents, I told you that Vice uncovered a scandal that Governor Rick Snyder knew exactly what was going on and lied about it. Journalist Jordan Chariton joins us right now. Jordan, how you doing?
Hey, Roland. Thanks for having me.
So Rick Snyder lied. Explain.
Yeah, so Governor Snyder, we found, was actually warned a year before the water switch. So that would be 2013. He was briefed that Flint, using the Flint River, could actually pose a bacterial risk to Flint residents, as well as carcinogens, which are, cancer-causing chemicals. He allowed the switch to go on anyway. We also learned that he became aware of the deadly Legionella outbreak, which killed, by PBS's reporting, as many as 115 people in Flint. He became aware of that in October 2014. Roland, that would be 16 months earlier than he testified to Congress. This was 2 weeks before his 2014 reelection for governor, and at a time when some reports said he was considering a run for president in 2016. So Governor Snyder was warned before the water switch, and again, he found out about the deadly Legionella outbreak 6 months into the Flint water crisis.
Oh, does that make the state liable? What does it? I mean, what could, based upon this reporting, what could happen?
Yeah, so we found evidence that previous prosecutors, they've been fired since by the current attorney general, were building a case against Snyder. They actually secretly brought in his chief of staff for a confidential subpoena. They brought in his treasurer for a confidential interview. They brought in his top advisor, Richard Baird, who was known kind of as Snyder's right-hand man. For whatever reason, those prosecutors were fired. What we do know is the statute of limitations is actually next week, for April 25th, for felony misconduct in office charges. In Michigan, it's 6 years is the statute of limitations. So other charges could be filed, like involuntary manslaughter or things like that. But for felony misconduct in office, it's 6 years. So that would be April 25th. So far, the new Attorney General, Dana Nessel, who came into office last year, she hasn't charged any new officials. In fact, she actually dropped the charges that were remaining against 8 state defendants, including the director of the health department and another top health official. And our reporting indicates the Attorney General of Michigan has had all this information that we broke for over a year. So it really begs the question, why have no additional charges? But yes, the state could face further liability if charges were brought against Rick Snyder.
And so the people of Flint still are dealing with an environmental disaster all these years later.
Yeah, journalistically, that's the maddening part, because as you've seen, a lot of these national media outlets have repeated that the water is improving in Flint. It's meeting regulations, but we actually found Snyder's environmental department manipulated that data. They were actually flushing residents' water right before taking lead and copper samples, which is against EPA regulations. I speak with residents today, 6 years later, that are still getting rashes, Roland, are still losing their hair. Children are, the long-term effects are starting to set in, losing cognitive abilities, forgetting letters in the alphabet, forgetting numbers, a lot of learning disabilities in children, a lot of volatile mood problems because lead damages the brain and affects your mood. Governor Snyder declared the water was safe and shut down the free water pods, but our reporting indicates that there are still serious problems with Flint's water, and they're obviously particularly vulnerable now with the coronavirus because this is a city of people with severely damaged immune systems.
Look, it just makes no sense whatsoever. Again, but you see what happens when you have public officials and lie, and why it's also important for people to support and invest in media, because the reality is there has to be somebody who serves as a watchdog to expose these things.
Yeah, and I'll say, journalistically, Obviously, coronavirus is understandably the top issue right now, but this is a major cover-up we uncovered. We worked with Vice on this, and we found that the governor he knew about the dangers of the Flint River, and he allowed them to switch to it anyway. And he also knew about this deadly water outbreak from Legionella. And if he would have taken action when he found out, a lot of lives could have been saved if they would have switched Flint off the river right then and there in October 2014. So this is a major, major story about corruption that I hope the national media could find some time to cover, because obviously it has major, major environmental racism ramifications. Flint is a majority minority city. And I do not think you would see this cover-up actually stand the test of time if we were talking about a upper middle class white city. I could tell you that.
Absolutely not. Jordan Chariton, we surely appreciate the good work. Thanks a lot.
Hey fam, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin, and don't forget to turn on your notifications.